Now please welcome Lauren Venetestein and Dave Jeffrey to the stage.
Good afternoon. My name is Lauren Venetestein, and I am a junior at Brewer High School. I'm currently a member of the indoor and outdoor track team. I'm a captain of the varsity girls soccer team, and I'm the vice co-chair of SAC. It gives me great pleasure to tell you about Hall of Fame inductee Glendon Rand. Glendon Rand has the unique distinction of being the first individual inducted into the Brewer Athletic Hall of Fame for his accomplishments both as an athlete and as a coach. A graduate of the class of 1980, he was one of the best cross-country and track and field athletes ever to wear a Brewer uniform. After a successful collegiate career at the University of Maine, he then embarked on a coaching career at Brewer High School that spanned 38 years, longer than any coach in school history. In only his third competitive season as a runner during his junior year, Mr. Rand was already competing against the best distance runners in the state. During that indoor track season, he posted the second fastest 2-mile time in school history. His spring track season was equally as impressive, as he set a school record in the 2-mile. In his senior year, Mr. Rand led the 1979 cross-country team to the Eastern Maine Championship and a state runner-up title. During his senior indoor track season, he was state champion in the 2-mile and set school records in mile and the 1,000. In spring track, he broke his own school record in the 2-mile, setting a Penobscot Valley Conference record in the process. Mr. Rand's school record in the 2-mile, 9:37.8, still stands to this day, 43 years later. Mr. Rand's accomplishments as a coach are equally impressive. He was the head coach of the Brewer boys and girls cross-country teams for 29 years and also served 10 years as head coach of the outdoor track team. He coached a total of 76 teams for Brewer High School during his career, including 2 state championship teams, the 1997 girls cross-country team and the 2019 girls spring track team, which earned the first outdoor track and field state title in school history. In addition to his girls cross-country teams, were state runners-up in 1995 and 2008. His boys cross-country team was Eastern Regional Champion in 2001. He's coached numerous PVC and KVAC championship teams. According to his athletes who ran for Coach Rand, his Hall of Fame worthiness lies in something more important than wins on the cross-country course or the track. He is described as a coach who was kind and caring, bringing a unique energy to coaching that made a fun, welcoming environment that transformed the teams into more than just a bunch of runners. Mr. Rand has received several honors over his coaching career. Most notably, he was the recipient of the Maine Track and Cross Country Coaches Association Lifetime Achievement Award in 2014 and the Maine Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association Larry LeBrie Distinguished Service Award in 2020. For his achievements as a runner and coach, and for his contributions to cross country and track at a local and state level, Coach Rand was inducted into the Maine Running Hall of Fame in 2020. At this time, I am honored to introduce Dave Jeffrey to present Glendon Rand for induction into the Brewer Athletic Hall of Fame.
Dave Utterback wanted me to tell you the Patriots won 15-10. It was the winter of 1979. I was a teacher of the deaf in the Bangor School Department. I said Bangor, Dennis. My brother, Mike Jeffrey, was the MDI indoor track coach. He had a great team, probably the best girls team in the state that year, and he was really proud of it, and he invited his little brother up to come and watch. I remember nothing about his team at that meet that night. However, I do remember one thing that happened that night vividly. It was in the boys' mile race. There was a pack of 6 or 7 runners, and they were going along at a very fast pace. When at about the half-mile mark, a skinny kid with a mustache took off, started sprinting. And I'm like, what is that guy doing? Way too early to go into a kick. I was totally wrong. He just ran away from everybody and kept going and won the race going away. And I turned to the person next to me and I said, who was that guy? And they said it was Glendon Rand. I said, wow, that was impressive. Little did I realize on that winter's night that less than a year later, I'd be hired at Burr High School and I'd be coaching Glendon Ran. And little did I realize that more than a year later, in the Eastern Maine Indoor Track League Championships, Glendon Ran would have one of the greatest nights in the history of Burr Track. He would run the mile in 4:27.7, setting the school record. 40 minutes later, he would run the 1,000-yard run in 2:21.4 to set the school record. Both those school records have never been broken. He came back 40 minutes later, and he got second in the 2-mile, ran 9:51.7. In an hour and 20 minutes, he ran 4:27, 2:21, 9:51, and led our team to the Eastern Maine Track League Championship. And little did I realize on that cold, wintry night that he would come back to Burr High School after a great career at the University of Maine, and first sub for ailing Red Pressey, chemistry teacher, and eventually being hired as the chemistry teacher at Burr High School. He would become my assistant coach for the next decade in both indoor and outdoor track, and he was an integral part of state championship teams. We would not have won those championships without his guidance. And little did I realize that eventually that orange flash with the mustache would be hired as the Burr High School cross-country coach in 1994 and take it to new heights, including winning a Class A state championship in 1997. He would also eventually take over the outdoor track program and lead that to a state championship. He would coach outdoor track as an assistant or a head coach for 38 years, not only inspiring others with a love for running, but showing the way to live a balanced life. And little did I realize at the time that this guy had an incredible intelligence and an incredible love of running. He had a vision to create a meet that all high school cross-country runners in the state of Maine could run in. Runners from all classes would compete at the highest level. He wrestled with the idea and finally implemented a race at the Belfast cross-country coach at the Troy Howard Middle School. He called it the Festival of Champions. His idea, his vision. At the time, I thought that was a little brash. The first year, we had about 20 teams, about 400 runners, and then it just took off. If you want to go to a high school event that will bring you joy and bring you things you've never seen before, go to the Festival of Champions. Next Saturday, we have 102 teams coming. We have over 2,000 runners coming to Belfast for the Festival of Champions. Glendon Ran had the vision to see what was needed. He implemented it. He brought it into fruition. And little did I realize what a great teacher he would become. For 38 years before retiring this past year, he was the best that Burr High School had. He taught AP students. He taught not AP students. He could teach anyone. He was just a great teacher. He was also an innovator. He started new courses, a computer science class that we needed. And many of those students who are working in IT or in computer science today were in that class, including both of our sons. He started a senior seminar class that met before school at 7 a.m. that seniors lined up to get into. Can you imagine seniors volunteering to come to a class at 7 a.m. before school starts? But they did, because it was an incredible class. And little did I realize he would have an incredible zest for social media and all it could do. He started the website, sub5.com, and as the world turned to online information, Glendon kept pace with the technology, and sub5.com became the clearinghouse for running information, race results, meet results, newspaper articles, pictures. Oh, did I tell you he's a great photographer? Sub5 became and still is the place that all runners visit to find out what is going on. He has done this all for free, no charge, just his passion and his love for the sport. This is my finale. I knew I probably couldn't get through it. A wintry night in 1979, I saw something brilliant. I had no idea that brilliance would shine away for all of us to follow. It is my great pleasure to introduce one of Brewer High School's greatest athletes, one of Brewer High School's greatest teachers, and one of Brewer High School's most respected teachers, Glendon Rand.
Can't really see anybody up here, can you? Thank you, Lauren and Dave, for that wonderful introduction. I also would like to thank the Hall of Fame committee for considering me worthy of this honor, and I would like to congratulate all the other inductees, past and present. It has been inspiring to me to read your stories and learn about your accomplishments as athletes and coaches. I'm especially pleased to be one of 3 track and field athletes in the class of 2023. Little did I know when I nervously joined the outdoor track team my sophomore year that I would discover a love and passion for something that has come to define much of my life over the past 45 years. All that time, running in high school and college, followed by road races and marathons as an adult, and then, as has been mentioned, coaching 76 different teams at Brewer High as an assistant and head coach. What is the story behind that longevity, and what lessons can be learned from it? When I run, I feel something primal, something linking me to our ancestors who 4 million years ago left the safety of the trees for the danger of the African savanna, where they had to run for hours and sometimes days to exhaust the deer and antelope that they were their next meal. Humans were born to run. One goal that I set for myself in college was to run every mile of every road in Orrington during my summer training. I hit that goal easily and sometimes would chase deer and other wild animals just for fun. I wish I could say that's why my nickname is Buck, but it's not, and I'm not going to go into that any further. Only once, when old man Henderson's bull got loose and chased me half a mile up Center Drive, did I almost become the prey. Solitary running is calming, soothing, meditative, and addictive. There is no problem too big that can't be solved during a run of moderate length. The time spent alone, with only the sound of your breathing and your feet hitting the ground, to me, is the closest you can come to the transcendent state of nirvana. Runners call it the church of the long run. Running with a group of teammates and friends has a different appeal. While most teams carry out their practices under the watchful eyes of their coaching staff, distance runners are usually off on their own on a trail or road miles away from authority. The conversations on a long run can range from the philosophical to the mundane to the profane. There is always someone pushing the pace. A most devious art is to push the pace from behind, and also always someone to complain about how fast the pace is. For the most part, we don't break laws, but there are always someone's apples to pick or train trestle to cross. By the way, Glenn, thanks for saving my life that day. But seriously, how often do kids today have the opportunity to have unfiltered face-to-face conversations without adults around or a cell phone to be the mediator? Friendships made on the run last a lifetime. One of the things that I loved both as an athlete and a coach is that females and males are unified under one team and one coaching staff. When I arrived as a freshman at UMaine, I found myself in the same workout group as the top women on our team. I was recently looking back over my old training diaries, and my workouts were as likely to be with Joanne, Rose, and Sue as they were to be with Glenn, John, and Al. They pushed us, and we pushed them in an environment of mutual respect and genuine friendship. There was no wage gap, no sexism, no catcalling. We were equals. I truly believe we have replicated a similar environment with our teams here in Brewer. We train together, we laugh together, we cry together, and we strive for greatness together. I don't know of a better training ground than a track or cross-country team to build stronger and healthier family units in more inclusive and respectful work environments. The concepts of winning and losing are, I feel, different and much healthier in cross-country and track than most other sports. There are no heel points or one-loss records that determine your ability to compete for a state championship. As been mentioned, our 2019 girls outdoor track team won the state championship. And guess how many meets during the regular season? We had 5. Guess how many meets our girls won that year? 0. We came in second place. No, we came in third place 4 times, in fourth place once. We never even came in second place. In track and cross country, we try not to focus on winning, we focus on the process. The process of learning your event, improving your skills and your fitness, and having a healthy mental attitude towards competition. We measure our improvement against our own benchmarks of setting personal best times or distances. We welcome competition because it helps us be better. If you ever go to a track meet, you are just as likely to see encouragement and congratulations between athletes on different teams as you are between athletes on the same team. The mutual respect for athletes who do the same event as you because you know they worked just as hard as you did and want it just as much. And we don't blame the refs or officials when things don't go our way. My son Dixon played soccer, and I had a big adjustment to make when I started going to his soccer games. Many of the parents I knew, they were pleasant, civilized people when our team was winning, but turned into raging, invective-spewing lunatics when their team was losing. I quietly developed a strategy of wearing clothing that would not identify me with any school, and I just moved around the stand with the parents whose team was winning. It was just more pleasant that way. By contrast, track parents are pretty chill. I think one reason for that is that they haven't spent thousands of dollars on private coaches and travel teams that promise to get their kids that mythical D1 scholarship. There are no AAU, club, travel, or special academies for track and field. Just once, I'm retired, so I guess I'll never see this, but just once I would like to see a soccer or a basketball athlete report to practice on a Monday and tell their coach, I hurt my ankle hurdling or pole vaulting over the weekend. That will never happen because what do track athletes and coaches do after the last meet? We go home. The season is over. See you next year. That's how I was able to coach for 38 years, while many other coaches at Brewer High School came and went and were gone after a few years. I miss the days when high school kids played for their school teams all 3 seasons, even if one of those sports was something they were not very good at. In fact, I think if you look at the history of Brewer athletics, our most successful, cheering, including the team being inducted tonight, basketball and soccer teams had many athletes who did a season of track and field. So I would ask you to do me a favor next summer, become a track fan. Watch the track and field competition at the Paris Olympics. The United States has the world's best track and field team with amazing athletes. But track and field is a truly global sport. This past summer, the World Athletics Championships were conducted from Budapest, and over 200 countries competed. Athletes for 200 countries competed. Several times while watching this meet, I found myself standing in front of my TV yelling, not just athletes from America, but Kenya, Ethiopia, Great Britain, Norway, the Netherlands, and Ukraine. The athletes are amazing, their stories are uplifting, and there is a joy that you often don't see in American pro sports. Citius, Altius, Fortius. Faster, higher, stronger. I love track and field, I love cross country, and I love running. And hopefully that gives you a little bit of idea why I do. I would like to thank a few people who are instrumental in helping me be here today. My parents were very supportive of my running and came to all of my high school and college meets to cheer on me and my teammates. My mom's here today and would always clip out articles and results from the newspaper and give them to me, so thanks, Mom. My sisters, Jean, Barbie, and Lori also took the time to show interest and pride in my running and coaching accomplishments. Barbie ran for John Bapps, and every Sunday we would run the roads in Orrington. She had a favorite 6-mile loop, and yes, she always pushed the pace. My sons Luke, Colby, and Dixon started going to meets and road races at a young age and grew up around running. It was a privilege to coach Luke and Colby, each for 8 seasons of cross country and track, and I loved watching them develop as runners. Dixon's big sport was soccer, but he is now walking and running for fitness. And like I tried to run every mile of every road in Orrington, I think he's trying to do the same thing in Boston. So if you want to follow him and his dog Murphy, you can go either to Strava or Instagram and look for Dixon Rand. I think most of the likes are because of Murphy. Australian Shepherd, right? Yeah. I'd like to thank my coaches who guided and believed in me. My high school coaches, Dave Laycock, Bill Lapotro, and Dave Jeffrey, built programs from the ground up that came to dominate at the league and state level. More than that, their enthusiasm and tireless dedication to us made a huge impact on our lives. My coaches at the University of Maine, Edmund Sterna, Jim Ballinger, and O.J. Logue, led our teams to successful seasons and provided us with the opportunity to compete far and wide outside of Maine against some of the best runners in the country, including future Olympians. To this day, I still feel lucky that I had that opportunity. As a coach, I've worked with several athletic directors over my time. I'd like to thank in particular Dennis Kaya and David Utterback for taking the time to learn about track and field, which were sports that they weren't all that familiar with, and for their support over many years. I've coached with some wonderful people who are track nuts just like myself. Being Dave's assistant for about 20 seasons was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot from him that I used right up until when I retired. My assistant coaches, cross country, Ian Frazier, who I'd coached in high school, and now Christy Albee, who's taken over the program. I'm really proud of her and look forward to what she can do with cross country over the next few years. I've had many fine outdoor assistant coaches, almost all of them former Brewer track athletes. Our throws team has been dominant for the past decade or so under the guidance of Michael Morton, Adam Lufkin, and now Lily Blakeman. Jason Hoare, volunteer assistant coach for us the last few seasons and just did a great job. And last but not least, Dan Julie and I have been through a lot together, and somehow we're still good friends. And I don't know what I would have done without you, Dan. My last remarks are to the athletes here tonight, both former athletes of mine and athletes who are still in high school. Coaching so many teams, 76 is a lot to keep track of. That's one of the reasons I took pictures, so that my old age I'd be able to remember everything, and we produce results booklets that I look through a lot. Not a huge fan of social media, but one of the best things about it is the ability to follow former athletes as they move on to college, start careers and families, and many times continue to run and stay fit. So to all my former athletes who are here today, it was a privilege to be your coach, and although I am enjoying retirement, I do miss you. Every day coming to practice was the highlight of my day, and I will always remember the fun we had at practice and my joy in watching you compete. It was just awesome. You guys are the best. And I'd like to end with 2 rallying cries from my high school days. First, from cross country, orange up front, and from indoor track, the wave never ends. Thank you so much.